Hi everyone, I'm Irene, and today we're going to be meeting two young women in STEM from Arlington High School's class of 2022. They're currently seniors in college, and as AHS alumni, they will be sharing their experiences in both high school and in college. They will be talking about how they found their interest in a field and what they're currently doing, and as well as their advice for current high school students. So if you're currently a high schooler and you're feeling kind of lost in the college application process, or you're going to be applying to college, or if you're thinking about what to major in or what to do in the future, I hope that you'll gain at least some insight after listening to the stories of these alumni. I'm here with Fair. She is a senior at Syracuse University studying biochemistry on a pre-health track. So, Fair, today we're going to be discussing how you found your interest in biochemistry and what you're currently doing as well. We're going to start with your overall college experience. So what is it like to be in Syracuse University? You can talk about anything that you really liked about it or kind of disliked about it, and it can be about anything.
So I love Syracuse, and I'm really glad that I chose it as a school. It was definitely an adjustment, especially freshman year, coming from a high school that's not huge and a town where I felt like I knew a lot of people, and then going to a school somewhat far away, and hardly anyone from AHS was at Syracuse when I went into my freshman year, so I really didn't know anyone. So I think it's hard for everyone to adjust to freshman year, no matter where you go, even if you do know people, but I found it especially difficult my first semester, just being at a relatively bigger school.
Yeah.
But once I was there for a while and I kind of made myself push through and branch out, I did end up finding groups of people that I really enjoyed being around, and I started getting involved more on campus, and I think just doing all of those things made me realize that I actually did love it at Syracuse, and I think I've had a great college experience.
So what is it like being in a school that has a lot of undergraduates compared to like a relatively smaller high school?
I'd say, one, it feels like there are just opportunities for everyone on campus, no matter what you're interested in, what your major is. There are different things for everyone, and I think that is one of the good things about being at a bigger school, is that there are different groups of people and not everyone knows each other, which can seem nice maybe freshman year if you feel like you don't know anyone, but I think by the end of your college experience, it is nice to have had all these different groups of people you can go and interact with.
So how did you like get to know more people, maybe from other colleges, like within the university, but studying different majors?
Yeah, so I guess so my second semester, I joined a sorority for women in STEM, which it's like a social and professional sorority. So most of the people in the sorority are STEM majors, but we have some women who are not STEM majors, but they still wanted to be a part of something that we could make friends and have fun, but also build your professionalism. So that was probably the biggest way that I met people on campus and really found my group. But I also have participated in a lot of recreational sports, which I think is a fun way to balance out your class and your work schedule. So I have done our club running team my freshman and sophomore year, and then I've also played intramural soccer with some girls in my sorority, but then also playing against people that I had never really met before, but then realized it was fun to kind of just put yourself out there and get involved in things that maybe aren't directly related to your major.
So focusing on like the sorority that you attended, it's for women in STEM.
Yes.
So in what ways do you feel like it supports women in STEM? I mean, like women is more of a minority in this field. How does it give like more opportunities or let you like get to know more people?
I think first and foremost, it just provides all of us with a sort of support system. A lot of girls in the sorority are engineering majors. I'm not, and there are a good amount that are not engineering as well. So it's kind of nice to just make friends with people in your classes that maybe you wouldn't have become friends with before. But then also we do some professional development type events. We do resume building workshops and like alumni. We have a really strong alumni network. And then we also like to do like philanthropy focused events as well in the community of Syracuse. But then we also have like our social side as well, which is more typical of a regular social sorority. So I think like it mostly provides like a really good support system being a woman in a field that has historically been male dominated.
What are the advantages of being able to connect with your alumni and being able maybe to meet them in person?
I know a lot of people that have gotten their jobs right out of undergrad because they knew alumni from our sorority that attended Syracuse or other schools have other chapters of the same sorority, and they were able to connect with them and then get a job at the company that they wanted to work at simply because they were part of the same sorority.
Because they had like a referral from the alumni? Yeah. Okay. So that sounds like a really good way to like be able to get more experience in the field when you're still in college.
Definitely.
Yes. So my next question is going on to your experience in the research lab that you mentioned. So what do you usually do? What are your roles in the lab?
So I am working on my own project in the lab because I will be writing my senior thesis about the research that I'm doing. So the lab that I'm in studies the development of ovaries. Like the overarching goal of the lab is to learn more about infertility and the reasons why it happens. So the professor that is in charge of my lab allowed me to join my sophomore year, and then last year I determined like what my own project in the lab is going to be, which I will be writing my thesis about. But it usually consists of going into the lab like 2 or 3 times a week and either conducting experiments or doing imaging or just like working on different writing in there. So it's been a really valuable part of my education, even though it's not part of my major.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's kind of like a little add-on, which I really enjoyed.
For the independent project, how did you find this? How did you find what you wanted to do? Did the professor help you with this part?
Yes, she definitely helped me. We had been thinking about it for a while, trying to figure out what I could focus on. And there was a previous project that had not fully been started, but a previous undergrad had looked into this one particular mechanism in the development, and so her and I together decided this could be something that I could look into and then write my thesis about.
Okay. So being able to join the lab at sophomore year is like incredible. Really early on, is it usually like, do people usually join labs when they're still undergrads? Is it common?
Yeah, so I think Syracuse is what's called like an R1 research school, which is equivalent to like D1 for sports, but our research program is really strong. And so I know a lot of people in the life science programs who do undergraduate research, but there are also research opportunities for students not directly in labs at Syracuse, but there are actually a couple hospitals right next to campus, and one of them is a teaching hospital. And so I know a lot of biology students that end up doing their research at labs in the hospital, which is really awesome because you can kind of get a different perspective of what research can look like after college.
So you've done a lot up till now, like in college. I mean, you attend the sorority and you do your own research in the lab. And I also know that you like sometimes work in restaurants and cafes, like the one in Cambridge and also in Arlington. How do you balance your time between these? How do you like manage to take time in these commitments and also like work on your academics?
Yeah, so for my jobs back at home, I'm lucky that I've been able to continue working at the restaurant in Cambridge when I come home for the summer or for winter break. And then usually when I go back to school, I'm mostly just focused on classes. But this past semester, I got a job working at the front desk in one of our residence halls. So that's been really fun because it's obviously a job which is helpful to have, but I've also been able to connect with younger students on campus, like freshmen and sophomores who maybe have just moved in and are still like not really sure what they're doing, and I've enjoyed getting to know them and just being a friendly face for them. So that has not been too hard to balance with my classes because it feels like more just rewarding and not too high stress of a job.
How about like balancing research and your academics? I mean, you go to the lab like every 2 or 3 times per week.
Yeah, so actually because I'm doing my thesis for bio students and biochemistry students, there's a particular class you can enroll in, which basically allows you to get up to 3 credits a semester for doing your research, so it counts to your overall class schedule, and it actually has counted for one of my upper division lab requirements for my major. So it's really awesome that I get to have that incorporated into my class schedule instead of just having to pile it on top of already a full schedule.
We want to learn more about how you made this decision during high school. So if we're going to jump back to your high school days in Arlington High School, was there like an aha moment for you when you found your passion for biochemistry and decided to like learn it during college, pursue it during college?
Yeah, so actually, believe it or not, when I graduated high school and then going into my first semester, I was an English major, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then first semester, I was taking some English classes and realized maybe that's not for me. And the college that I'm in within Syracuse is a liberal arts degree, even though Syracuse itself isn't a liberal arts school. So I was already taking a chemistry class because I was going to be required to take a science class anyway.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's probably more my speed. So after my first semester, I switched my major to biology, and then a year after that, I decided I wanted to focus more on biochemistry, but it definitely was not a straightforward path for me, and I'm honestly grateful because I got to try out something else before really determining that I wanted to do something completely different. But I think it worked out really well.
Was biochemistry in like the same college as the English major that you went?
Yeah, so both are within the College of Arts and Sciences, which is lucky because I also am still required to take humanities classes even as a biochemistry major because it is still a liberal arts degree. So both were within the same college, so it was a relatively easy transition.
So Syracuse, it sounds like Syracuse gives students like a lot of freedom to transfer between majors, at least in one college.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're early enough in your college career and you have taken a variety of classes, it's pretty easy to really switch into anything as long as you talk to your advisor and you are able to figure that all out.
That's super useful information because I feel like there must be like a lot of people who have like a rough idea of what they want to do, but not like exactly. Like for me, I wanted to do engineering, but I'm not sure like which specific one. And I feel like it's going to be really helpful if the college gives enough freedom for you to transfer majors between colleges.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is really great, and I think it's so important for people to just try out as many things as they can before settling and deciding on one specific career path that you want to do.
Yeah. So if you could go back into high school and you could restart over, and then you know that you wanted to do biochemistry, is there something that you want to recommend to current AHS students that would be like really beneficial to them in the long run?
I think like one thing for me that helped me prepare for college classes was taking like a couple APs, just not even for the fact that they're on your transcript, but just so you get used to that level of work required, because I think that is pretty similar to what a typical college class asks of you, like the amount of time you put in per week and the difficulty of the assignments. So I think that really helped prepare me.
Does the APs, like the classes, does the workload match like sophomores in university or freshmen?
I would say it matches a lot of the like more intro general classes, so like my intro bio class or my intro chem class that I took freshman year. I think I took AP Enviro at AHS, and I think that felt very similar to the type of work required of you for those intro bio, intro chemistry classes, that type of like lecture style.
So aside from these, were you able to take like other APs that you were able to like get some credit from the college?
So I did take AP Human Geography in high school as well, and then AP Ling, and so those did count toward my degree as well.
Were you able to transfer your credits from AP into college and pass like elementary college courses and go directly into more harder ones?
The AP classes that I took did count toward some of my humanities requirements for my liberal arts degree, but none of them were prerequisites for the higher level classes.
So were you able to jump classes or no?
Unfortunately not for the specific classes for my degree, but it did count for like humanities, so it helped me in the long run.
So you mentioned that you were studying biochemistry on a pre-health track. What does it mean to be on a pre-health track, and how is it any different than just be studying biochemistry?
So pre-health means that you're taking prerequisites for further schooling in medicine along with your major requirements. So I'm taking things such as anatomy and physiology, which don't count toward my degree, but will be useful for schooling that I apply to later on.
Would it be like medical school?
Yeah,
or-
so could be medical school, PA school, nursing school, any of the above.
What is it? What's a PA school?
Physician assistant. It's similar to a doctor, but you kind of are like a step down and usually work under an attending doctor.
Do you know what someone who is going into deciding to major in biochemistry can expect to go into later for their career paths?
So a lot of people that I know are on the pre-health track, but other people go into research or similar, but a lot of it is like medical adjacent or like related to that field.
How about biochemistry? Is it a bit different?
I think a big aspect is research, but other people do go into academia. They want to teach, or some people end up doing something different than biochemistry, but maybe still STEM related. So
Yeah.
I think you still have a lot of options as a biochemistry major.
What do you think they can transition into, like going into an unconventional career path?
I think like if you want to do environmental or like anything like that, I think the degree is still applicable.
So do you have an idea of what you want to do after college, maybe going into medical school or becoming a nurse?
Yeah, so I am planning on applying to nursing schools for next fall, and I want to be a nurse practitioner, but I'm applying to accelerated programs to get my bachelor's in nursing first, and then I'm planning on going back and getting my master's after working for a couple years.
How long does it take to get the nursing degree?
So accelerated programs you can do if you have another bachelor's degree and you have the prerequisites. So those you can usually complete in like 12 to 16 months, which is pretty fast.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
And then you can go directly into work after that?
Yeah, so once you have that degree, you're a registered nurse, and you can just work as a nurse, and then you can go back after, I think, at least a year of experience working as a registered nurse. You can go back and get your master's and become a nurse practitioner.
Okay, so it's not as long and as tough for like doctors. Maybe they have to experience
definitely.
a really long time. Yeah. How long does it take to like become a nurse practitioner?
Nurse practitioner usually is just another year or two of school because you already have all the nursing experience.
Was it any different than just being a registered nurse?
So a nurse practitioner, you can like be someone's primary care provider, and it's really more of like a independent role where you can, you don't really have to work under a doctor or work under anyone else. Like you can fully provide for, diagnose, prescribe things for a patient and all that, but it is coming from more of a nursing aspect rather than like from being a doctor.
We've learned a lot about your college experience and what you want to do in the future. If we're wrapping this up, and is there anything that you want to tell any HS students who currently may be wondering to go into either pre-health or biochemistry?
I think it's just really important to get as much experience as you can and really explore all of your options. I think it's a great field to go into, but it definitely requires a lot of you, and I think that it's just important for people to really like figure out any other interests or options, or just like get involved as you can.
So thank you so much for your time to share your story and your journey in college, and also I wish you the best of luck for last year in college and also your job seeking process in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.